AI agents. Are they actually a thing? Are you missing out on what is expected to be like one of the greatest revolutions for AI when it comes to marketing and work and productivity in general? Or is it not quite a thing yet? We're going to be getting into that. And we're also going to be getting into MidJourney. It just dropped video, and it's actually some of the best cheap video you can have access to if you need AI generated video. And ChatGPT 5, supposedly coming this summer. What are we supposed to expect? Welcome back to Bot Bros, a segment of the AI-driven marketer where we uncover the help from all the AI hype out there. I'm Dan Sanchez. I'm joined by my brother, Travis Sanchez.
Good to be back.
And today we have a full spectrum of news to be going over in order to keep you, the marketers, informed about what you need to know when it comes to AI. Starting with this AI agent craze that's been going on. After meeting with a ton of you over the last couple of weeks, it's something that I'm hearing often. Like there's a sense of anxiety, a sense of like desperation. Like I got to figure out this automation thing. I got to figure out this AI agent thing. Are AI agents still a thing? Like I'm hearing like all these questions about it, all this anxiety about it. And so I thought I'd just start off this whole segment with a state of the industry when it comes to agents, starting with like, do we even have a proper definition around agents? Like, what is an agent? Like, if somebody said they had an AI agent to you, bro, what would that put in your head? As what would your expectation be of that?
My hope is that they'd be able to drop a few lines of a task, and that agent would be able to cross many platforms to complete that task. Receive feedback, plug and play, receive feedback, try a different route, troubleshoot. It would actually be able to accomplish a task with multiple steps. You had some definitions for that. You worded it a certain way when they're actually not just completing one task, but they're able to. I think we talked about, I think you had someone who, I forgot who, but he would say run the plan. And the assistant already knew what that meant. It meant booking a hotel with this snacks in the room. I mean, but for an agent to be able to do that, that's kind of what I'm expecting for an agent. Of course, you'd have to train the agent. You'd have to know what the plan is, all that stuff. So that's what I hear and want.
Yeah, that was a Ramit, who is the founder of a very popular website, couple books now called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich."
Yes,
Great. He's a financial guru.
I read half of it.
You read half of it, and it's okay. Like
it's okay. Super wordy. It's like, oh my god, it just keeps on.
The guy's a nerd. He's a finance nerd. So, but he had this thing of like he calls his rich life, right? And he has these playbooks with his assistant where he's like, hey, every time I travel to a different city, I want to stay in shape. I want to stay, but I need systems in order to make it so I don't like just go eat out and feed myself whatever I want. He's like, so every time I run the playbook, she has an SOP, standard operating procedure. She just goes and executes it. She books the tickets. She books the hotel. She knows what kind of ranges of hotels and what prices to look for, what it's expected to be in the hotel before he arrives. There's a playbook. And of course, anytime and like it's hard to say like, is that an agent? You're like, because we can automate things and sprinkle in some AI agent goodness in there. But the difference between an automation where you have to build the whole sequence painfully and what a good administrative assistant or executive assistant like he was talking about is that when problems arise.
Correct.
Because problems always arise.
Right.
Especially when booking travel like that. Right? Because then you have to book. It's like you can't build an automation to book a hotel. You probably could, but sometimes hotels, the rates change. Like Taylor Swift's coming in that weekend. Oh, your 2 hotels that you normally like are fully booked, or the rates went way up and went out of boundaries. Like there's a bunch of different conditions you have to navigate. That's why it's a good picture of what an agent can do, like on a personal level, booking hotels and stuff like that. But there's a bunch of stuff like that, especially when it comes to work that we run every week. And that's what's really exciting. You're like, man, what if someone can run the webinar play, which webinars have like dozens of little tasks in them and things go wrong and things that you need to do. And there's some ambiguity in there. It would just be nice. So are we there yet? Have you seen anything that looks like that?
No, especially not for the common man. And even by common man, for those that are listening, hardworking marketers who have been in the game a long time, who don't need to think they need to even oh, what's the coding now where you don't actually need to know CSS?
Vibe coding.
Vibe coding. Like, you don't have to feel the pressure to vibe code to make an agent. You have someone else create a program that's like, yeah, all you need to do is make sure it's up to date on your website information, give it a few pointers of what you like in certain situations and how you prefer things, and then move. So it's not there yet. It's not in that layman's terms of, man, agents are so available.
I've started realizing that a big part of what we're hoping for with agents is AI that can work cross application,
That's how you mentioned it last time. Across application.
which is the exact same thing Apple is being slammed for promising and not delivering.
Suckers.
Now, hear me out. They actually defended themselves this week, and they gave a really good defense. I was like, well done. Like, it was a good defense. It's not going to be enough for people not to hate them for promising something they didn't deliver. But they're like, we really hyped up the AI thing, and we shipped almost all of it. There was just a few things we couldn't ship. But like, it was 4% of all the things that we talked about for that whole hour when it came to Apple Intelligence, and we marketed Apple Intelligence like overall, and we delivered almost all of it. And I'm like, true.
Is it because that you had to compare them with ChatGPT?
Yeah,
And
that's the hard part. Is
ChatGPT's ability was just
they did
par
not
none?
promise ChatGPT level. They promised an AI that can make Siri a little better. They promised an AI that could make your text more friendly, as well as ChatGPT no, which is why they brought ChatGPT directly integrated into Siri.
Does Apple
That's
ever
the
say
reason why they
things
did that.
like make it a little better? No, they're like, this is the greatest advancement in the history of smartphones. So,
but there's some usefulness into it. I'll give you that. There's been a few times I've gone for photos and I'm like, show me of the pictures. Show me the pictures near a pool. It does a good job of filtering those out. It's using AI to detect and determine what's in the photos and then to filter them out. So I'm like, there's a bunch of little helpful under the hood things that are actually making things smoother. You're like, great, you can now edit people out of images smoothly because the content aware fill thing.
it's funny. Any defending of Apple just makes me look at you and go, no.
I'm saying this because the one thing they couldn't ship that was what everybody was excited for, other than just a better Siri in general.
Yeah.
That was the one big miss. The other big miss was Siri being able to work across applications. This is... Oh my gosh, Siri, don't get activated now. There she is. Not aware of the context. Thank you for that comedic timing. I'm not going to say your name again, but you know who you are. It can't work cross application, but that is essentially agentic work there. That's starting to be what we're all waiting for when it comes to agents. Because without that, if you're not working cross application, there actually are agents out there. The whole vibe coding thing is essentially pretty agentic behavior because it can actually keep in mind not just the page of code that you need to edit, but a lot of your database. It could be like, oh, well, here's your functions, here's your styles, here's your components all built out within this small application. It can actually keep them all in mind and know what to change where and reason through it. I'm like, that's an agent. That's why we're able to do vibe coding now and why we can build small applications with it or whole big applications. That's kind of agent-y. Deep research, kind of agent-y, because it's able to go through, scour the web, think about what it found, be like, did I find enough? No, I'm going to go dig deeper. I'm going to go dig here now. Did I find enough? Did I find the answer? No, I'm going to go dig deeper. I'm going to go find some more stuff. That's agent thinking, but it's still not working cross application, which is where I think we're all waiting for, but it's not quite here.
And maybe, I don't know if it'll ever get to the place where it's this magic wand of, I need a marketing plan. I need a marketing plan to fundraise X amount of dollars at the end of the year, giving largest giving season ever. Look at our last 5 plans that we've created, and it's going to be across social media, YouTube, blogs, articles, I want to be in certain magazines or whatever. Go create at least the look, the wording, everything, and come back to me. And then when it comes back with everything that you need to approve, which you've seen ChatGPT do this, it says, do you like this version or this version? So it can create multiple versions for you, and you can just start going down that bunny trail. But you're still going to have to, and it's going to have some level, it has to have some level of intelligence to ask you, okay, do you want me to move to the next step? Now that we have the design, the copy is approved.
Yeah.
Do you want me to move to the next steps? Well, who told it what the next steps were? We're going to have, we have to create some kind of SOP for this thing to follow. It's not just going to read our brains and know exactly what kind of marketing plan we want it to go for. You want this, you want ads? Do you want micro influencers involved in this? Like you're still going to have to give it some level of detail of what to run. So it's not just going to be reading our brains. But I think in my head, I want it to read my mind. And that's just not going to happen.
Well,
unless it does. I don't know.
It's getting close. Because of all the context it has of all the previous conversations.
True.
It actually is getting pretty good at like predicting what you want.
Yeah, but that's a form of training, right? That's an assistant knows, oh, you like the hotels next to water. Oh, you don't like being more than 30 minutes away from the airport when I book you a hotel. It remembers all these micro details that I don't have to remind Sally Sue every time she runs the plan. So you're right. ChatGPT will remember those things, which
I've actually started thinking about that, and we're diverging. I will come back to agents, but I've actually started thinking about that strategically. Like, like the memory feature, the fact that it can remember past conversations, that's going to get better.
Yeah.
The context window is going to get bigger.
Yes. It's a game changer. It is a game.
I'm strategically dropping more information into it. Like oftentimes, like when I write a LinkedIn post, I have a little project and it knows like when I dictate an idea into the project, it goes and writes me 3 posts. It gives me a clear, a concise, and a spicy take on that idea. I almost always pick the spicy take because that's what works well on LinkedIn. But afterwards, I'm now telling it which one I picked. Because I think over time,
it will say, hey, I think you'll like this one the best. Here's some other options if you're not
like it'll just be able to change everything. You're like, well, Dan's generally gravitating towards this more spicy language for his LinkedIn posts. So it will just start changing everything over time.
It'll start making even more spicier posts to see like how far of the envelope it needs to push. Yeah.
But it's giving me 3 options every time. But I think the fact that it's not just I'm giving it some feedback for it to remember in the future. So it can start making these micro adjustments. And I think it will start doing that in the future. And I think that's where employees' ChatGPT accounts start to become a competitive advantage because mine's able to train on my data and think like me. And it'll be much more powerful than a just plain vanilla ChatGPT account.
Right.
So don't get locked out of your ChatGPT account.
Did that once. Oh my gosh, dude. I lost everything.
Yeah.
Stupid work email.
Yeah.
If you have an account right now with OpenAI and you have it attached to a work email that of course you feel confident in your role, but if for whatever reason you leave, change it now if you can. Like get out, because man, that's what happened to me. Lost it all.
Bro, that's still me. Mine's based on a work email at a place I don't work anymore. I'm still holding on. I'm scared. But it's at a work. It's at Sweetfish actually, because I started it years ago, and when I first started it, I was working at Sweetfish. So I'm like in a real big pinch. I'm still good. I'm still friends with James Carberry, the CEO. I'm like, I get in a tight pinch. We could still make it work.
Right.
I'm just waiting though. Part of me is like waiting for them to be able to change the email. But right now, you still can't change the email.
Yeah, it's locked in. Like you cannot change your email.
I have a different account with the API for any applications I build, but yeah, my core ChatGPT account's still actually locked in with Sweetfish. I have a backup phone number set, so like if I lose it, I can reset it through my phone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, but if it ever becomes a big deal, I could deal with it. That's why I'm not in a huge urgency. That's why I haven't switched it. I'm waiting for them to upgrade that one little feature. But it is a problem. Use your personal email, an email that you know you'll never lose access to, because that's becoming a competitive advantage with years of data.
I lost so much data.
Yeah.
A year and a half, maybe 2 years.
You're rebuilding now.
Yeah. It's fine.
There are a ton of YouTubers, and I see them more and more on LinkedIn, of people building these agentic tools, like these NAN automated all-in-one tools that know what you need, and when you like they're connected to all your database and stuff. And what I'm finding over and over, this is the stuff that's giving a lot of like marketers, especially the audience of the show, FOMO, because they're seeing people build stuff.
Yes. Is it real though?
No,
No, it's not.
it's not real. Or it's hyper, like it's real, but it's like only for this one use case. Like it's a custom build and it's only useful for this one client this one time. Those are real. They're hard to build, but they're real. Are there general things people are building that are really useful? No, because the reason why I know that is they work technically, but you never see a case study attached to it. There's never any evidence that it's actually delivering the goods, or like that it's making them 10, 100 times more productive, or that it's delivering X results. No, never. And I've watched a lot of them.
You know those money-making gurus on social media that are like, hey, I have made 100 different people who are making $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 a month. They are now making $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a month. Super simple. Come follow me. They keep hyping up this whatever they're selling, probably as a product. I've seen now these gurus, quote unquote, come onto YouTube, social media. They're like, listen, it's no longer about a company that has 500 employees. It's one guy, 20 agents, $1 billion company within 2 years. That is the new startup. That is the new. We are so moving away from the traditional startups, angel investors, venture capitalists. Nope, it is one guy and 20 agents. And so you hear these broad stroked, it's all hype. That's not real yet. It might be in the future, but they're talking like it's happening now and you're missing out. So of course, people are, you're right to be panicked because you're being fed lies, but
yeah, it's funny because they're not wrong in that will be a thing. They're not wrong. Like I literally just recorded an episode with our mutual friend Ken Frere on like the idea of the solo billionaire. It's going to be a reality. Someone's going to break that. They're probably going to be a freak of nature person, right? It's going to be the perfect business model, the perfect time. And there's going to be 100 AI agents helping them scale a whole business. And maybe they still have a few contractors and a bookkeeper. Got it.
They'll still be stressed, high cortisol levels, and they'll be done.
Yeah. It's not going to be enviable. They'll get all the fame and glory for being the first or being one of them. Sure. The thing that gets me excited about it, I'm like, well, if somebody breaks $1 billion, you know what that means? There's going to be dozens more that break 100 million, which means there's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that break 50 million. And there's going to be thousands that break 10 million at a solopreneur. And then that means there's going to be like hundreds of thousands that break million because of agents, because it allows you to scale things that you just couldn't. Business models that you could never do solo. A lot of them now you'll be able to do solo. Like you couldn't do an agency solo. Now you can. So there's just a bunch of models that'll be like able to do solo and break 7, 8, 9 figures. So that's exciting, but it's not here yet. But it's giving everyone FOMO, and agents aren't really quite a thing yet, unless they're very hyper niche and have a very specific function, like code, like deep research. And that's about it. I can't think of any other agents that are actually really useful right now, because we can't do cross application, which is what's hurting Apple because they thought they could. They can't. The other thing they gave in their defense is that nobody else is doing it either. They're like, we thought we could do it. We're not doing it. Guess what? We don't see anybody doing it. Google's not doing it. Google's AI agent, as good as their reasoning models are now, and they're pretty good. Like we've talked about on the show, not ChatGPT good, but they're not doing cross application work. But it's so funny. Next year, we're going to be like, dude, do you remember when our applications couldn't talk to each other? For example, do you remember that AI couldn't search the web?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, that was less than a year ago.
It was like, I'm sorry, I only have the information up to January 2023. We're like, what?
That's right,
heck, bro.
I warn you.
Remember, it was like, I have everything on the internet up to 2021. You're like, what the heck? Yeah.
So things are changing rapidly. So as much as it feels like we're waiting because of all the hype, you're like, yeah, but I
It's
remember
true.
last year we had like Apple's announcement and it was like super quiet on the AI front for like 2 months afterwards. That will not be this summer. We will get a lot of updates. One of the updates we're expected to get this summer to move on to our we just spent 20 minutes talking about AI agents, but that's good because it's a lot of people are thinking about it. ChatGPT 5 is rumored to be coming out because Sam Altman keeps saying it. He's like, it's coming this summer. It's coming this summer. And they're still working on it. So it might take longer, but it's supposed to be coming out. It's going to be an all-in-one model so that you don't have to really choose between the models anymore.
That's
I
great
think
because
this is
I
going
was
to be
literally
good.
just thinking, man, I was thinking of something I used ChatGPT for, and I was like, did I use the right model? I'm like, ugh, I'm tired of deciding which model I need. I just want one model. So you just answered my question. Thank you. Thank you.
I think it'll be really helpful for a lot of people because a lot of people don't even realize that O3 is much more powerful than 4.0 because the number is smaller. And I'm like, if they just pick 5 over and over again, they're just going to get better results
Yeah.
consistently. There's
Wow.
many times where I know which model to use, and I'm actually a little scared because I actually kind of like being able to dictate which model gets used when. But I realized I'm probably in the minority as far as knowing which model to pull off when. And generally, for the most part, I'm literally just changing between O3 and 4.0. Do I need it fast? Do I just need writing? Do I know that its internal or its training data has enough of what I know it has to give me the answer? Or do I know it needs to go research it and think about it deeply in order to give me an answer? It's not intuitive. It just takes a lot of time and error to like know which one to pick. I know which one to pick, but I don't think most people know.
Got it.
So 5 is going to be a huge lift for most
That's
people
great.
because it's going to pick for you. Scares me, but I think it'll be good. So that's something to look forward to this summer. I think we've all been waiting for this since when did ChatGPT come out?
2021.
2022. 22. And
Was
then
it?
it was 23, and then last year was 24. Yeah, so it was 22, November of 22.
Got it.
And they released 4 in March of 2023. So it's been over 2 years. We've been waiting for 5.
Wow.
In the meantime, they've updated 4.0 so much that you're like, well, if we would have showed past selves how good 4 is today compared to what we got when it first launched 2 years ago, we'd
Wow.
be like, oh, that's 5, right? Because it's that much better. It actually does, as much as there are reasoning models, 4.0 actually does have some reasoning built into it now. I tested it recently. It actually followed logical assignments. It used to not be able to do this, where you're like, hey, if it's this, do this. If it's this, do that. It used to struggle with that. Now it just does it real clean.
Wow.
So, but 5, who knows? It's coming out. Sam Altman says it's going to be good. So, something to be watching for this summer. Christmas is coming in the summer. Last news on the docket is MidJourney, the image making AI, just launched video. And it's available for even the lowest tier account. I just tested it. There's no audio in it, it feels like anybody who ships video without audio now just feels like,
Yeah.
You're
I don't
like,
know. Have you
I
seen?
want audio with my video.
I'm sure everyone has seen AI video, but the audio's not really great, and it
Mm-hmm.
just ruins the entire video. The voice doesn't match the face. It sounds totally ad-libbed or sound effects put over that just is like obviously not done by a professional sound engineer, which who could hire those guys except for the movie guys. So
I will say MidJourney's video is actually pretty good.
yeah, but there's no audio.
Yeah, but the prompt adherence is really good, and it's cheap. Like the like lowest tier is like $8 or $10 a month, which I don't know how many renders you get for that, but I just tried it this morning. I just took an image that I generated. I was like, animate this, and it gave me 3 because you use Sora and you're like, my gosh, I have to generate like 2 dozen just to give something that doesn't look like complete crap. That's Sora. Runway's better, but not a lot better. MidJourney video is actually pretty good. It actually sticks to the prompt. It actually looks decent. It doesn't have audio, but I'm like, oh, they did something good here. I'm actually probably going to use this because I paid for the annual. If I was paying for the monthly, I would have unsubscribed already because ChatGPT's image maker and Google's image maker is so good now. But this video thing, I'm like, ooh, I might start using MidJourney again for this.
I'm scrolling through their feed right now of just different photos people have created with AI. They're pretty good, just the photos alone. So I was hoping to see if they had a feed of people's video creations, but I don't see it.
You have to log in. There's like a
Oh,
wall of like all the goodness, and
of
they're really
course.
good. But I'm just telling you, on like one image that I created this morning, I said animate it, and they gave me 4 options, and all 4 of them were decent. Some were they were pretty all closely aligned to what the image was, and none of them hallucinated like crazy. There's just slight subtle differences between all of them, but all of them I would have considered usable before.
That'd be cool for like intro. You want like a different visual intro with the same audio
Mm-hmm.
stinger and it matches, at least from the audio perspective. You don't need to like have the custom stuff. Did you see that video? Speaking of video, I don't know if it was made with MidJourney, but it's really popular on Instagram right now. Basically, someone cutting glass fruit.
Yes, I think
It's
that's a
just,
Sora thing, but
is it Sora?
no,
Maybe
no, sorry,
that's,
not Sora. It's a VO. I think it's Google
okay,
VO.
probably
That's what I
is.
heard.
It's like I don't, the audio and the visuals is just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like total just eye ear candy.
oh, it's, yeah, melts your brain. You're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, people are all of a sudden. I've seen the headlines for it, like, "Oh, teens are making millions of dollars on the AI video." And I'm like one person's making probably tens of thousands of dollars. Calm it down, freaking headlines. You
I
know what
know.
I'm saying? Like the headlines are always like, "Oh, it's going on everywhere. All the teenagers." I'm like,
Everyone's
no,
just creating
freaking one
FOMO
person
everywhere.
made it on a random thing that just happened to work really well. Okay, relax. All right, that's up for our news headlines. I'm going to move into our sponsored segment, High Level, which I'm repping today with the
Yeah, you
t-shirt.
are. Dang, merch it out.
Merching it. High Level, you guys have heard me talk about this before, and I've had to talk to like many of you already, and I find that a big thing that people are saying is that it's expensive. Costs a lot. And I'm like, costs a lot compared to what? And I'm like, okay, I guess ConvertKit starts at like $20 a month or something like that. And there's like other options out there versus High Level starts at 97 a month. But I'm like, I don't think you understand all the things that High Level does. It does funnels, it does calendars, it does CRM, market automation, text messages, phone calls, voice agents. It does all the different stuff. In fact, one of the agents that I think is actually very useful that every business needs to be using right now is just voice agents. So somebody calls your phone number, AI answers and says, "Hi, welcome to so and so business. I'm the voice agent. How can I help you today?" Or how can I get you started with this thing? Or whatever you type the intro line and you can have it lead even into a discovery conversation if you want to. It trains on frequently asked questions. You can feed it pages of your website. You can even have it go as far to be like, "Hey, yeah, I'd love to send you some information about that. Can I text it to the same number we're talking to?" Okay, I just sent the text with the PDF in it. Would you like to talk to somebody on our team to discuss this over with? Sure. Yeah. When's a good time for you? I'm open. We have some openings on Thursday at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. It's that good that you could just literally book a meeting with it over the phone. I'm like, that's one of the uses of agents right there. That's actually the settings for it. It's really easy to set up. It sounds really good. It actually sounds pretty human now. Before it was kind of painfully obvious, but now they just updated the voices to sound good. That I'm like, everybody should be using this. But that's all the stuff you get with High Level. That's why I think the $97 a month is like no brainer. But of course, some people are like just starting out, and I'm trying to think like if I were just starting out, I guess I'd just be using Google Sheets and SendFox for email, and that Google Sheets would be my CRM. Until you're earning, you know, a few $1,000 a month, and then you upgrade to something like High Level. But I wouldn't be going to ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign because you start getting more than 1,000 emails in there, and
Bro,
that
so
price goes up
expensive.
fast.
I asked ChatGPT, why should I start using High Level? It said all in one stack, no more app spaghetti. I was like, oh,
It's kind
it
of the
really
truth.
is your all in one application.
You can even build whole memberships in there. Is it as good as Circle? No, Circle's pretty good,
Didn't even know
but
Circle
is it as
existed.
good as School? Yeah. Now it doesn't have quite the community that School does, but it does all the stuff that School does, and I'm like, I'll be building a membership in there soon. It'll be really exciting. So it generally just does all the stuff. Like I don't need PandaDoc anymore because it has invoicing and doc signing And as soon as someone signs the doc, it changes it over to a billing invoice, or I can send to them after the signed proposal or whatever. It has like all this stuff. It can handle financial data and e-commerce data and all the things. Anyway, that's why I'm bullish on it. That's why if they hadn't reached out to me, I was starting to think of reaching out to them because I use them all the time. Anyway, enough about the sponsor. Obviously, I like them a lot. Let's move over to the everyday AI. What have you used AI for this week that just is helpful? Something we haven't done before.
I forgot about this, and it wasn't one of the original things that I was going to talk about. But recently, I was bit by a dog right on my hand, drew blood, had to rip my hand out of the dog's mouth. The dog was barking over my fence. I wanted to talk to the neighbor. He did not see me approaching the neighbor. The dog was already barking, which he normally does. I stuck the back of my hand out just to greet the dog. That was a huge mistake. It latched on. Luckily, it was just the front of its teeth. It didn't quite get any fangs in there, but it definitely drew blood. So you better believe that I was using ChatGPT. Okay, what's the likelihood that my neighbor's dog has rabies? What is the likelihood that I have rabies? What are the symptoms of rabies? What should I do? It obviously was like, go to the hospital, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. I was like, no. And then it was like, here's how you clean it. This is what you need to do. So I was in kind of panic emergency mode, a little bit of a medical thing, but I wanted to, just get some information. And it was like, it's very unlikely it has rabies. They probably wouldn't have it as a pet. It would already be showing signs. The one thing it didn't help out with was if you start showing signs of rabies, you're already dead.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning with a headache and I'm like, oh no.
I'm going to die.
Everything's fine.
By the time a human gets rabies, it's game over for you.
Yeah. Anyways, it's all fine. I don't have rabies, but I did use ChatGPT
to calm you down a little bit. Yeah. That's a scary thing.
I know.
You had to go through that.
The one I did have was just using, which this is a stolen thing I saw on social media. You basically just turn the voice feature on AI if you're sitting in a quiet room reading, and if there's ever a word you come across or a statement or something that you're like, I'm just curious about, to have ChatGPT sitting on your shoulder and say, can you give me a little bit more information on the Roman Empire's beginning? Or I don't understand this formula. It says it in this book. Where did this come from, or what does it mean? And to have the voice feature is so convenient for chat just to answer you. It's like a verbal dictionary that will give you the answers you're looking for immediately. It doesn't work with kids running around screaming and talking because chat is very sensitive and will always talk to you. But it's nice if you're in a silent room and you need some help. So I've used it. It's fantastic. Reading finance books and not understanding what the heck, I don't know, a mutual fund account is, or what's the difference between an IRA versus a Roth IRA versus a traditional IRA. So just asking those questions offhanded is really nice to have a intelligent assistant right there over your shoulder.
Eventually it'll be listening all the time, and that's kind of creepy, but at the same time it's just really convenient. If you're working, you're like, hey AI, hey chat, what am I doing this afternoon again? It checks your calendar. You have this in this book. Why? Is there anything I can book for? Do you want me to move them? You're like, no, I was just wondering because I'd like to leave work a little early to go for a run.
Gosh, wouldn't that be nice? Oh yeah, can you email my appointment at 1:30 and tell them I'm not going to be able to make it? The problem is it's going to be so good like that. We're going to be lazy, like, I have to talk.
Or more likely, it's like, I'm in public right now. I just can't have a breakdown conversation with my AI without being rude to everybody standing around me right now.
Right.
There's already times where I want to dictate, but I can't dictate because dictating for AI is faster. So I have to type it out with my thumbs, and I'm already irritated. I'm like, I got to type this whole sucker out.
Dude, soon I'll have Neuralink, and we'll just have to think it a certain way, and then it'll do it.
Gotta draw the line somewhere. I ain't doing that. Elon Musk is really a fan of this. Like, increase that bandwidth rate between you and the computer. I'm like, no, pass. One of the ways I used AI this week, in fact, just yesterday, I went and ordered a poster from Walgreens, right? They got cheap print options. And I usually, you're like, well, Walgreens, they always got coupons going on. Like always, if you're paying full price for a Walgreens thing, it's like they always have coupon codes going on. So I'm like, ChatGPT 303, go find me the best coupon code you could find for this specific thing that I'm buying right now. I'm looking for 50% off, but see if you could find better. It's like, will do. I took a screenshot of it searching, and then I posted it to LinkedIn yesterday. I'm like, coupon codes, rest in peace.
Dang, did it work?
Coupon codes are going to die because everybody can do this now. Like it used to take, it takes 10, 20 minutes to go find the coupon code. But now you can have AI scrape the coupon codes and go and find them and find out which ones are still valid. And it delivered.
Wow.
It's like, hey, I found a 50% off one that it's guaranteed to work. But if you want 60% off for the product you're looking for, not, but there's some similar products you're looking for that if you just change your product over to a subcategory, you can get 60% off. I was like, no, I want this, but thanks. That was actually really nice. So really cool. The other one I did is not a ChatGPT thing. Almost everything we talk about is ChatGPT related. This one's not. I was trying to figure out again. It takes me so long to make the thumbnails for every single episode that I was still trying to figure out something that sped it up for me, but was also not using Photoshop, because Photoshop's just like, it's a really difficult, robust, beefy tool. You get lost really easy. There's tons of settings. You take one misstep in Photoshop, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gone. So it's hard. It was hard for me, but I've been recommending it to marketers because its ability to do content aware fill, essentially like just expand an image, to take like an image and be like, oh, but I just need it to be wider, and to just blow it out wider. It's just so useful. But I discovered a tool that Adobe has where you could do that for way cheaper and way easier, called Adobe Express. It's essentially their Canva ripoff. And now I'm using Adobe Express for all the thumbnails. I have essentially ChatGPT design all my thumbnails. I'm not even changing anything in them anymore. Whatever typography it takes, I'm just taking it. But it's pretty good. I have a custom GPT that helps me build it. But I did a past episode to it. I'll link to it in the show notes on using AI and ChatGPT to build a custom GPT to build your thumbnails. But the one difference in it now is I'm no longer using Photoshop. I'm now using Adobe Express. It's $10 a month to get access to this feature. It's really smooth. You're literally like upload, resize, click, resize again, click, bam, bam. All of a sudden it went from awkward size, because that's the problem with ChatGPT is you can't specify dimensions, right?
I know, you try and it just doesn't do it.
But now you can with Adobe Express, because you can upload it and be like, here's the proper dimensions. I want it to be YouTube thumbnail. And like all the dimensions that you would need to know are in Adobe Express. You're like, I want YouTube thumbnail. You don't have to Google it. It just knows YouTube thumbnail. Got you. Bam. Expand out from horizontal ChatGPT image. You want to turn that YouTube thumbnail into a square image? No problem.
And then it generative
Vertical,
fills or
bam.
what?
Huh?
Does it do like generative fill?
Yeah, just does generative fill. It's real smooth. It gives you 3 options because it hallucinates a little bit, which is what you want. It's essentially hallucinating. But it's good, and it gives you 3 options because you pick the right one that looks the right.
That's great.
And then you're off.
All right, Adobe Express.
Adobe Express. I'm not a Canva user too, because I'm sure it's different than Canva, but it's essentially a Canva ripoff, because Canva's eating into their market share, and I like that because capitalism. But
I don't know why I don't like Canva. I just don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't know what it is. A lot of people like it. Every time I go in there, I'm like, ew, what?
Oh, it's not intuitive. I hate it. Anyways.
But whatever. Poll of the week. I asked the crew on LinkedIn. I asked a really simple question. Actually, I should have done a different poll, but this is the poll I have for this week. Okay. I asked everybody, I'm like, hey, on the topic of GEO/AIO/ whatever the heck we want to call this ranking in ChatGPT thing, because we can't figure out what we want to call it. I've heard a couple different terms for this now.
I just got lost. What? Ranking and what?
So essentially, what was SEO? Search engine optimization?
Yeah, ranking for like artificial intelligence search, basically.
Yeah, some people are calling it generative engine optimization. People are just calling it artificial intelligence optimization. I'm like AIO, which is, I think, my favorite term right now.
Yeah, AIO. I like AIO too.
It's a nice enough blending of AI and SEO that I'm like, yeah, that's actually the term
GEO.
I prefer. Yeah, GEO sounds too much like GMO. Anyway, I asked everybody on LinkedIn, like, hey, I'm going to do an episode on this. Should I make it a series, a 5-part, or should I just do one episode? And of course, 81% of you all voted for a multi-part series. So that's going to come in August. I'm going to have some really good SEO people break it down, like what's working, what's not
Nice.
working, how good is it working now, how much are we expecting it to be a thing in the future. But people that are like, I'm going to do a 5-part interview series. I'm actually even going to have like an intro of me being like, this is what I'm hoping to learn, and an outro of me saying like, this is what I learned. I'll probably turn it into a little mini course,
Great.
but it's going to be released on the pod. And I'm going to do 5 interviews with people that have deep, deep expertise in SEO that are also diving deep into AI, so that we can actually have like some of the best information on what it takes to rank in AI, because that's becoming a hot topic. Like ChatGPT is starting to send some traffic now. It's not like Google, but when ChatGPT recommends you, people are trusting it more than they trusted Google, which is kind of crazy. So that's becoming a major topic for marketers. It's still pretty early, so expect that to drop sometime in August. Viral post of the week. This isn't a marketing related post at all, but I just thought it was adorable, and like somebody using AI in such a fun and cool way that I was like, I got to talk about it on the show. Essentially, I'll link to it in the show notes. This video that went viral on LinkedIn, it probably went viral on X too, but I saw it on LinkedIn, of a teacher showing all the students their future selves in the profession of their choice. So one, they got the kids, because ChatGPT is pretty good at like making this up. You take a picture of the kid, you feed it to ChatGPT, be like, hey, show me what this kid looks like as a 30-year-old in this profession. Like, show me this little girl as an astronaut. And it puts her like 30 years old, still likeness. You're like, oh, it could look like her at 30.
Oh
You don't
yeah,
know.
it definitely looks like the kids. They're showing a
Yeah.
video of the kids' reaction, seeing a picture of them in their
Yeah.
older selves, and the picture of their older selves definitely looks like them. It's
Plausible
amazing.
as far as how they'll look in the future,
Uh-huh.
which is crazy to think like you can have a pretty reasonable expectation of what you're going to look like in the future. But it has them like, if they're a veterinarian, then they're holding a cat and they're wearing like the veterinarian coat or whatever, So like, it's just really cool. I'm like, what a cool thing to do as a teacher. Like, of course, a lot of kids are seeing this, are probably just doing it of themselves. But as a marketer, you got to know, like, seeing, like, a lot of people don't have the ability to see what the outcome looks like, which is why we use pictures of hammocks on beaches to show them what they could look like there. But with AI, pretty soon we'll be able to show them with them there. Just like this teacher showing this kid a picture of their future selves. That's why dream boards can be important, because if you can visualize it, it's one major step you could take forward to accomplishing the goal. That's why it's a major step in a lot of goal setting, is actually being able to visualize you actually succeeding there, because then your brain starts getting to work on building a bridge to that possible reality. That's why it works in the reverse too. Like, if you start visualizing destruction happening to you, like, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Um, your brain starts recreating what needs to happen in order to get there. It's why they say, like, don't focus on the distraction on the side of the road. Stay focused on where you're going, because otherwise you end up drifting towards that thing all the time. It's the funny thing your brain does. But I'm like, that's what we do as marketers. In the future, we'll be talking about how to scale AI to be able to do that. What this teacher's doing, we'll be able to do it in mass. But right
Wow.
now, we could even do it on an individual basis. Like, you could take a picture of your client you're working with and show them in the desired position, desired thing that they want to be doing, and send it to them in an email if they're worth enough. I don't know. Like, there's some industries and some use cases where this is, you could be doing this on a one-to-one basis already. But eventually we'll be doing it in mass, and it'll be like Minority Report status. Hello, Travis. How would you like to be?
Yeah.
you know,
Wow.
Look at you in these sneakers.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen AI take my image and do justice with it just yet. It's trying.
I did just post on LinkedIn. Again, I'm trying to get people to realize that ChatGPT can be a designer for you, and you can use Adobe Express now. But people do have a hard time. I've started getting over the fact that it doesn't quite look like me. And every time I send you a thumbnail, you're like, bro, that ain't you. I'm like, close enough. Most people recognize it as me.
We won't
So if
even
you
be
go to my
talking about
YouTube,
this in the next 6 months. They'll fix it and it'll be amazing,
yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. And right now it's close enough. Like, if you go to my YouTube thumbnails, like, you just go to my YouTube channel and see all the thumbnails back to back, you're like, yeah, that's Dan. Some of them look more or less like me. It's all based on images of me, but it's close enough. Sometimes I have to use a face swap tool to get it closer. But some of them look like slightly chubbier versions of myself, or like my eyes aren't quite right, or cheekbones aren't quite right, or whatever. But it's close enough. And then it'll just get better. So I don't know. If you want to do that kind of thing, like I'm doing and like I'm promoting now, just realize that it's not going to look like 100% like you. It's going to get like 90, 95%. It's going to be close though. Everybody else will be able to recognize it as you. Let's put it that way. And that's probably more than enough right now. Well, thank you for listening to another segment of Bot Bros of the AI Driven Marketer. Again, check out our sponsor, High Level, at danchez.com/high level if you want a 30-day trial in order to get a preview of that. Of course, you put in your credit card, but you can unsubscribe from the 30-day trial anytime if you want to take a look to see how well it can work for you and your business. Otherwise, give us a review on any Apple podcast app you're listening or any podcast app you're listening to. It really helps the show a ton. If you're on YouTube, give us a like and drop a comment. Makes a big difference for this whole show. But chances are you probably already stopped listening to this because hardly anybody listens to the very last segment of the show. But for those of you who made it all the way, thank you. Thank you for taking me to 100%.